It is the 20th day of October 2021. Happy Mashujaa Day. Good evening and welcome to Newswatch. Thank you for choosing Hope TV, where you look and live. We are live on Facebook and YouTube at Hope TV Kenya. Kindly follow us and engage us on our social media platforms on the day's celebrations. Who do you celebrate as your hero and why? You can respond on Facebook and YouTube, and we will be sampling your views in the course of the bulletin. And I will also let you in on my hero at the end. If you stick around, let us kick off. Kenyans can now breathe a sigh of relief after President Uhuru Kenyatta announced that the dusk to dawn curfew has been lifted. The pronouncement, which was much awaited by Kenyans who have been mounting pressure on the government to lift the curfew, has been in place since March 27, 2020. Kenyans could not hide their joy, and even those in the stadium in Kirinyaga were heard celebrating even before President Uhuru Kenyatta could finish his statement. The curfew, instituted as a preventative measure to curb the spread of COVID-19, was met with criticism by politicians and civilians alike for affecting different sectors of the economy. And we will be bringing you that comprehensive story by Grace Wangoi. But in the meantime, let's look at the 58th Mashujaa Day celebrations were mad at the, I beg your pardon, the 58th Mashujaa Day celebrations marked at the Wangoro Stadium in Mwea. So many leaders arrived in style and elegance. Many wore African fabric knit to suit the theme of the day, from kitenges to Maasai beads to Maasai shukas. In compliance with the COVID protocols, only 3,000 guests, among them 2,000 Kenyans, mostly county locals, were allowed into the stadium. Despite the chilly weather, Kenyans thronged in their numbers, filled with excitement as they made their way into the stadium. Here's Dolly Murigi with more.
The Wanguru Stadium, which was holding its debut event after its completion, was colorfully decorated with fabrics depicting the colors of the national flag, with large screens mounted at various points in the stadium. With tight security from uniformed officers, celebrations ran the air at the stadium as Kenyans observed this year's Mashujaa Day celebration under the theme Inchi Yangu Jukumu Langu Mimi ni Shujaa. Dignitaries were treated to song and dance from various artists from Mount Kenya who played the traditional dance and incorporated modern music in their jig. Earlier on, President Uhuru Kenyatta arrived, inspected a guard of honor of the military parade, and the Air Force jets were also not left behind. The various dignitaries who arrived at the event were also not left behind as they dressed well in honor of the event. Now, Kenya Party leader Martha Karua was a head-turner as she majestically marched in her African regalia. Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho donned a smart casual look, while opposition leader Raila Odinga toned down in an African shirt and hat to boot. The arrival of Deputy President William Ruto stole the show as the crowd cheered him on as he welcomed the chief guest, President Lazarus Chakwera from Malawi. The weather at Wanguru Stadium in Kirinyaga was largely cool, with a light rains experienced early ensuring the 3,000 guests invited at the event were comfortable. Dolly Murigi, Hope TV, Newswatch.
Hongera Mashujaa.
Thank you, Dolly, for that report. Let's revisit the one earlier. Kenyans can now breathe a sigh of relief after President Uhuru Kenyatta announced that the dusk to dawn curfew that has been lifted. The pronouncement, which was much awaited by Kenyans who have been mounting pressure on the government to lift the curfew, has been in place since March 27, 2020. Kenyans could not hide their joy, and even those in the stadium in Kirinyaga were heard celebrating even before President Uhuru Kenyatta could finish his statement. The curfew, instituted as a preventive measure to curb the spread of COVID-19, was met with criticism by politicians and civilians alike for affecting different sectors of the economy. Grace Wangoi now reports.
The long-awaited pronouncement that the 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. curfew has been lifted was delivered powerfully in the last few minutes of President Uhuru Kenyatta's last Mashujaa Day speech. Even before he could finish his statement, the crowds at Wanguru Stadium in Kirinyaga County could be heard celebrating, the news signifying a new chapter for them.
And by the authority vested in me as President, I hereby order and direct that the nationwide dusk to dawn curfew that has been in effect from the 27th of March 2020 be and is hereby vacated with immediate effect.
When the curfew came into force on March 27, 2020, Kenyans were required to be home by 7 p.m. The first few weeks will see Kenyans suffer in the hands of policemen who are implementing the movement restrictions. Reports will later indicate that some Kenyans were beaten to death in the hands of security officers. It will not take long before the curfew was moved to 10 p.m. and has been like that since then. Put in place to lower the spread of the deadly COVID-19 virus, curfew was met with criticism as Kenyans blamed it for slow business, especially those in the transport sector, hotelier industry and small business owners, with some implying it was the reason for the stagnating economy. For almost 2 years now, Kenyan travelers have become used to traveling between 4 a.m. and 10 p.m. lest they are met with police officers enforcing the curfew regulation. Now, that is a thing of the past. Drivers and conductors of circles here in Nairobi could not hold their joy and express their delight to now be able to carry passengers even during the night. They are now looking forward to an increase in profits with the extended business hours.
Tumeacha safari za usiku, lakini sasa kwa saa hii vile kumefunguliwa, sasa tutaanza kwenda usiku sababu gari zilikuwa zinaenda usiku zinashikwa mpaka na abiria na kila dereva.
Sisi tumefurahia sana kwa uhuru wetu kutufungulia kafio. Tulikuwa tumeteseka sana kikaumana, mimi driver wala, sasa tumefurahia. Juu sasa kazi imerudi. Sasa tumefurahia, tumemwambia shukrani kwake. Sasa kazi ni kuchapa kazi 24 hours.
The joy is not only that of matatu drivers but that of bodaboda operators as well.
Fanya kazi venye nataka, hata nikitaka kutoka asubuhi nitatoka hapa asubuhi. Kwa saa hii hakuna pesa. Utafanya kazi venye unataka. Si ati ikifika saa 4 unakimbizwa hapa na polisi. Saa hii tunafanya hata ukifanya ukichoka, ukitaka kwenda kulala, ukitaka kuamka asubuhi saa 2, ukitaka kuja jioni. Tumefurahi, kila mtu amefurahi sana.
Tumeteseka sana juu ya hii curfew kwa sababu kazi zote zimeenda chini kwa sababu ya curfew. Wananchi wote wameteseka juu ya kufungiwa economy. Kila mtu alikuwa anafanya kazi yake hapa Nairobi kutoka saa 1 mpaka hata saa 8 usiku, hata saa 11, lakini mpaka saa hii tumefurahi, tuko na furaha juu sana kufurahia Mheshimiwa Kenyatta kufungua nchi na watu waendelee na ekonomi zao.
Moses Nyongesa, a resident of Kawangware, was delighted that church's capacity had been reviewed upwards.
Kwa upande wangu kabisa tuliposikia kwamba rais wetu ameondoa curfew, mimi binafsi nilifurahia sana. Nilifurahia. Kitu cha kwanza kabisa tukikuja katika upande wa makanisa, at least sasa hizo restrictions za church nyingi hizo because of the curfews vile imeondolewa, services zitakuwa prolonged a bit.
During today's celebrations, President
Thank you, Grace, for that report. After months of political discord and disunity between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto, the two shared a podium at the Wanguru Stadium in Kirinyaga County to mark this year's Mashujaa Day celebrations. In his speech, DP Ruto vowed to build President Kenyatta's legacy and the Big Four agenda once he takes over as Kenya's 5th president, noting that Kenya had well managed this country. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who also attended the event graced by Malawian President Lazarus Chakwera, showered praise on former President Mwai Kibaki, saying he was his hero. Dickens Luvanda now reports.
The newly built Wanguru Stadium in Mwea, Kirinyaga County played host to various leaders as President Uhuru Kenyatta led the country in marking his last Mashujaa Day celebrations while in office as Kenya's fourth president.
What the name of the mountain was, Chief Kivoi told the white fellow that the name of the mountain was Kenya. According to folklore, he pronounced it in a Kamba accent, but what the colonizer heard was Kinya. And from this conversation, the name of our nation, Kenya, was born 200 years ago.
Even though Kenyatta avoided politics in his speech, Deputy President William Ruto in his speech showered praise on Kenyatta's administration, saying he had steered the country to an unprecedented transformation since they took over the Jubilee administration.
We celebrate you as our leader. The last 9 years has seen unprecedented transformation in our country. From the SGR to the almost 11,000 kilometers of new tarmac in Kenya, to the almost 8 million people connected to electricity, to all the transformation in our education sector. Your Excellency, your place in the history of Kenya is not only secure, but it is prominent.
The DP, who had not met his boss publicly since the June 1st Madaraka Day celebrations in Kisumu County, vowed to build on President Kenyatta's legacy and the Big Four agenda if he is elected as the fifth president come August 2022, and also work together with his political competitors to expand Uhuru's legacy.
Your Excellency, I want to give you our assurance, myself and my competitors here, that we will build on the legacy that you have set, and we will ensure that nothing that you will leave behind is left incomplete. We will build on it and make sure that Kenya goes to the next level.
Prior to his speech, the DP and his boss engaged in a hearty chat as Ruto appeared to be happily explaining something to the president.
Ujumbe ambao unaelekeana na siku ya leo ambao unasema hongera mashujaa, tuwapigieni makofi.
As the country celebrated Heroes Day, ODM party leader and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga acknowledged retired President Mwai Kibaki, saying he is a great hero that needs to be celebrated.
We celebrate heroes like Bishop Gitari from this region, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, Michere Mugo, Wangari Maathai, Ken Matiba, Charles Rubia, Reverend Timothy Njoya. We have here, Your Excellency, two ladies. One, the first woman to become a Chief Justice, Madam Martha Koome. Finally, Your Excellency, my hero, the former president, your predecessor, Mwai Kibaki. Mwai Kibaki must be celebrated as a hero in this country.
Mashujaa Day, I am honored to join you in celebrating those who fought for Kenya's freedom.
Malawian President Lazarus Chakwera, who was the chief guest, emphasized on the long-lasting relationship between Kenya and the South African nation.
For us, the struggle for independence in Kenya and Malawi is one of the things that binds us together.
Other leaders who attended the feat include Chief Justice Martha Koome, former Deputy Prime Minister and Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi, his fellow Oka principals, members of parliament, senators and governors. Dickens Luvanda, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Dickens, for that report. Now, calls for the government to intensify security operation in the troubled Laikipia County dominated speeches during the burial of 3 banditry victims in Kiambogo village, Laikipia West constituency. The victims were killed on October 10th when suspected armed bandits staged a daring attack and raided Kiambogo village. The bandits had raided a home in the area and made away with 32 herds of cattle and 2 sheep. As they were driving away the stolen animals towards the Laikipia Nature Conservancy, shot the 3 and injured another resident.
Sisi tunaona ya kwamba tumeashiriwa kama watu wa Laikipia kwa sababu hatu tukajua furaha iliyo Kirinyaga tukiwa hapa, tukiwa na hii media ambao tulio nao hapa. Watu ambao sio wezi, watu ambao kuna makosa walitenda, lakini waliuawa kwa sababu ya usebe wa serikali tulio nayo. Na kwa hivyo tunaomba, tukiwa kama wahubiri wa Laikipia ambao tumekusanyika sisi sote pamoja, ya kwamba serikali baada kuchukua hatua ya kuweza kuondoa hizo ng'ombe hapa na hawezi ondolewe hapa na hiyo mambo imalizwe kabisa ili tupate kuishi kwa amani.
When it comes kwa mambo ya security na uhai wa watu, you should take responsibility. So ni aibu ningesema hivyo kwamba hatujasikia even a letter imeandikwa National Assembly na Senate kusema a motion of adjournment to discuss the issue of insecurity in Laikipia.
Wala watu wameuawa kwa kupigwa risasi. Na nisiende Maran, nisiende na huko Miteta. You will not believe. Na mimi nimesimama kwa mikutano ya security na nimesema mimi kama Dhomo. Nimesema hawa watu wako na mpango.
Hii serikali imetusikiza tukilia. We have suffered. Our question is only one. For how long shall we die? For how long shall our people suffer? For how long shall our children cry and our wives cry? Tunafika mwisho. Hata biu za sakafuni uishia ukingoni. Tumeanza kufika ukingoni. Matiang'i yanakuja all the way from Nairobi. The whole security ya Kenya inakuja Laikipia. Munakuja munaapa that in 7 days there will be peace in Laikipia. In 7 days, mauaji yanaongeza maradufu. And you still want us to trust you.
Kenyans will now have better access to healthcare following the planned construction of 50 new level 3 hospitals across the country. President Uhuru Kenyatta is announcing a new stimulus program to be rolled out beginning next month, directing the Ministry of Health to put up the additional health facilities in non-covered and densely populated areas. Speaking during celebrations to mark this year's Mashujaa Day in Kirinyaga County, President Kenyatta directed the National Treasury to allocate 3.2 billion Kenya shillings for immediate construction of the medical facilities. The project is part of an ambitious 13 strategic intervention plan he outlined under the third financial stimulus program, targeting key productive sectors to be rolled out at the beginning of next month.
To ensure access to medical coverage across our nation, and as part of our universal health coverage program, the Ministry of Health will move with speed to establish an additional 50 new level 3 hospitals to be situated in non-covered areas and densely populated areas across our nation. And I further direct the National Treasury to allocate a sum of 3.2 billion shillings for the immediate construction of these medical facilities, again, using local contractors so that the effect is also felt on the ground uko mashinani. My administration has also put in place a comprehensive nationwide program to upgrade selected hospitals in all the 47 counties through provision of specialized modern state-of-the-art medical, diagnostic, and critical care equipment. through the Managed Equipment Services project, whose objective was to improve access to quality specialized healthcare services throughout our country. Under this project, we have identified and equipped 115 hospitals with various theater equipment, 101 hospitals with various radiological and imaging equipment, 14 facilities with ICU equipment, and 54 facilities installed and commissioned renal equipment for dialysis.
Let's take our first commercial break on Newswatch tonight. We have plenty more after the break.
Only God can turn a mess into a message.
I have a boy on a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I'm still preaching on the pulpit.
Amen.
Niliona mguu ya nyuma inakuja tu kunikanyaga, imenilenga tu kwa tumbo. Nikaitana tu Jesus.
I got tired of working with the x-ray papers, and one day I just woke up and decided to burn them.
A test into a testimony.
The whole community didn't want to hear that anybody is born again. Excommunicated straight.
Bila Yesu hakuna njia.
Join Sharon Naitore Wangenye on Testify.
Katika hiyo harakati hiyo spirit ikakemewa, mimi nimeona Yesu Kristo namna hii. Kwa msalaba. Opa. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Every Thursday at 8 p.m. for a moment to grow your faith some more. You've done everything for me. You've done everything for me. Join us every Sunday for unlimited, uplifting, powerful worship, only on Extended Worship.
Welcome back. Now, a section of North Rift leaders now want solutions to historical land injustices and compensation as a result of the British invasion to Kenya. The leaders who spoke at the 116th Koitalel Arab Samoy commemoration in Nandi Hills said Kenyans are yet to get justice for atrocities meted on them by the colonialists. Koitalel Samoy was a Kalenjin leader who led the Nandi resistance against the British until when he was killed in 1905. Leaders in the region now want reports, including the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission, TGRC, and other investigations that filed land injustices implemented. Speaking at the event, Uasin Gishu Governor Jackson Mandago said it's time Kenya started getting serious about the issues of colonial injustices so as to practice full independence.
As a community, we are not just marking the 116th anniversary. We are also reflecting on the atrocities committed against the Nandi community, the Talai clan, and the Koitalel Samoy family. And we are asking for justice as the country goes to celebrate Mashujaa Day. The greatest Shujaa that we have as a nation is Koitalel Samoy, who resisted the invasion by the British colonialists into our land.
If we truly want to solve all the historical injustices, it is time we look one another in the eye and begin sorting out the mess. And I want to speak today to the Prime Minister of Britain, Boris Johnson. How happy and glad are you taking tea from Nandi County from Kericho County, from Bomet County, that was a result of deaths of thousands of citizens of this county. Where is the rights of those who are killed by your own government in this country? Where is our land, on our Prime Minister? The ambassador of Britain in this country. How come your citizens are still sitting on us?
Taking a look at COVID-19 statistics in the past 24 hours, 117 people have tested positive for the coronavirus disease from a sample size of 6,004. The positivity rate is now at 2.0%. Total confirmed positive cases are 252,308, while cumulative tests so far conducted are 2,654,013. Fortunately, 209 patients have recovered from the disease countrywide, bringing the total recoveries to 245,786. Sadly, 5 patients have succumbed to the disease, pushing the cumulative fatalities to 5,238. A total of 4,674,897 vaccines have so far been administered across the country as of October 19th, 2021. 3,378,842 were partially vaccinated and 1,295,055 were fully vaccinated. When you hear of the word philanthropist, in most cases, you often think of the wealthy elites who have millions of dollars to donate. However, deep in the Eastland side of Nairobi City, an unsung hero is redefining philanthropy in his own little ways. In our special feature tonight, our reporter Kennedy Kimani tells the story of Felix Ochieng, a 26-year-old hero from Lakisama, who stitches footballs and donates them to educational institutions, as well as trains children from the age of 10 to 15 years, all for free, on a mission to transform grassroots football in the country.
Sai kama si futa ningekuwa mwizi. Inanikibizi na pia naanza kujua mambo mengi.
Kutoka nikutane na Felix, nimekuwa motivated, nimekuwa inspired na football. Ametusaidia, ametuletea mpira shuleni.
We love it when we meet with such people like Fellow, when they come to our school and they even give us some balls because we lack some balls at times.
Nimedonate over 50 balls. Hizo nimekuwa nikizidonate kwa mashule, kwa ma children's home. Kuna zile ma tournaments zenye zinawekwa mtaani, tunaweza support. Kwa sasa hii mpira ya Kenya kidogo imekuwa na challenge. Tunapata facilities haziko. Nikikaa chini niangalie na mimi at least naweza provide moja. Mimi nikileta ball at least najua uko juu, mwingine anaweza amua lete jezi, mwingine akuja lete boots na to join up na ikuwe ni shughuli inaweza run. Yeah. Dream yangu ni kuje siku moja ni feel football ya Kenya imechange. Ni kuwe one of those that wata change football system ya Kenya.
He is a man on a mission, young and daring. This is a story of a 26-year-old Felix Ochieng, who is on a journey to transform the football system in the country, a step at a time, with the big dream of having one of the biggest football academy in Africa by the name Indomitable Football Academy. It is a hive of activity at the small football manufacturing store in the heart of Kariobangi, Eastlands area of Nairobi City. Felix Ochieng welcomes us to the makeshift factory, where a group of youth are busy hand-stitching balls, all for a good cause. It is a place where he spends most of his time building his dream a day at a time.
Mini fan wa ball, first of all, mini player. So nimekuwa nikifanya hii shughuli for quite some time. Juu ni kitu napenda kufanya. Na pia imefika time sasa nataka ni give it back to the community. Passion yangu ya kutengeneza ball kwanza ilianza like nikigrow nilikuwa nimependa ball sana. So kwa hiyo harakati ya kupenda ball Kienda shule nini. Alafu unajua tukienda chuo kulikuwa tuna zile ball za jewel, zile polythene, zile mnatengeneza ball na polythene. So ilikuanga hizi these other one ya leather ilikuanga saa ngumu kupata, ilikuwa limited, then pia ilikuanga expensive, so unapata mna struggle sana. Then mtaa pia hakuna grao, so tunafuata grao mbali. Nimedonate over 50 balls. Hizo nimekuwa nikizidonate kwa mashule, kwa ma children's home. Kuna zile tournaments zenye zinawekwa mtaani, tunaweza support. Cause saa hii mpira ya Kenya kidogo imekuwa na challenge. Tunapata facilities haziko. Nikikaa chini niangalie naona mi at least naweza provide moja. Mi nikileta ball, at least najua uko juu, mwingine anaweza amua lete jezi, mwingine akuja lete boots, na to join up na ikuwe ni shughuli naweza run. Dream yangu ni kuje siku moja ni feel football ya Kenya imechange. Ni kuwe one of those that wata change football system ya Kenya.
The beautiful game of football is more than just a sport. It is an inescapable way of life for millions of kids, a sacred carnival that is staged passionately, mostly in dusty patches of land. However, millions of football-loving children are unable to afford quality balls to play with. Instead, they often rely on whatever is at hand to create their own makeshift versions, using anything from strings and plastic bags to strips of clothes. These improvised balls, however, often won't last long.
Mi dream yangu niweze kusupport grassroots talent, nikiweza donate maball zangu to the remotest areas, zile areas zenye bado watu wanacheza zile polythene wrapped balls hizo, tukiweza kuafikia na hizi maball pia wakuwe wanaweza sasa jiendelesha, so ikuwe ni kitu inaweza grow.
Nachezea Indomitable Football Academy, na napenda futa kwa sababu imesaidia watu wengi, imewatoa mbali, na pia ifundishi tu mpira pekee, inafundisha pia respect. Na coach wetu pia amenisaidia kwa mengi. Sasa kama si futa ningekuwa mwizi. Inanikibizi na pia naanza kujua mambo mengi.
Football inaweza kupeleka mbali. Juu kutoka nikutane na Felix, nimekuwa motivated, nimekuwa inspired na football. Ametusaidia, ametuletea mpira shuleni.
Ochieng, however, says that it has been an uphill task registering his football academy due to insufficient funds, but nothing, as he says, will come in between his dream and passion for football.
Na fellow ameleta impact kubwa sana kwa mtaa, especially watu wadogo. Watu wadogo ukiangalia vile fellow yenyewe ameshikilia watu wadogo kama academy hivi. Fellow amefanya kitu kingine mzuri sana, sababu talent iko mtaa. Talent iko hapa mtaa. Na hii mtaa sasa unajua ni mtaa yenyewe imetoka na majina kubwa sana. Kina Mika, anaitwa Lunga, kina Lunga tunamuitanga mtaa Mika. Ni mtu mwenye ametoka kwa mtaa, alafu ukiangalia ni mtu amegrow na kina fellow kwa academy moja huko wapi? Huko Liberty. Ukiangalia vizuri fellow akili yake ni ya kufocus kuunda talent.
Nataka ile life ya watu hii change. At least tukuje tupate the next Olunga kutoka hapa. At least like Kisama tena ikuje pate star. Ni hatuna facilities. Facilities ndo tuna lack. Tukiweza kuwa na facilities, tuko willing kuingia to the remotest areas, tuweze kunacha hizi talent, tuweze kuwa support. So mimi na timu yangu nimeonelea poa naweza donate maball at least kusupport, ndio nisiwahi kuja ile siku ni complain ati football ya Kenya haiku grow. Right?
They say legacy is not leaving something for people, but leaving something in people. And that is the story of Felix Ochieng, who intends to transform the football culture in the country, one ball at a time, one match at a time. Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV News Watch in Lakisama, Nairobi.
Thank you, Kennedy, for that special report. It is indeed encouraging, even as we celebrate Mashujaa Day. Moving on, a 10-year-old boy is battling for his life at Siaya County Referral ICU after he was burned in the process of driving out demons that allegedly possessed him. The scary incident that occurred in Gem sub-county on Sunday left the boy with pain, forcing him to be rushed to the hospital and consequently be admitted into the ICU. According to her grandmother, Rose Obare, the boy has had a tendency of disappearing from time to time. It was in this state a woman approached her and told her that the child was possessed with demons that were responsible for the unfortunate occurrences. On the fateful day, the woman arrived as she had promised with candles and kerosene, the common paraphernalia that they used to drive out the demons. After spraying the kid with the kerosene and lighting the candles, the process went on for a short while. When they heard the screams from the room, they broke him to find the boy burning.
Ilichimbwa juzi ya kuelekea Rivayala. Sasa hiyo barabara ndio mtoto alikuwa amefika hapo tena. Akamchukua akamrudisha. Kumrudisha huyu mtoto hakuwa anakaa polepole. Alikuwa tu anafanya limbari kila mara tu ako tu chonjo. Bas huyo mama ambayo alikuwa anakuja kumwombea akafika na wenzake, alileta wenzake wawili. Walipofika sasa tukakaa kwa nyumba na mtoto, lakini tayari mtoto alikuwa anataka kutoroka. Lakini tulikuwa tunamshika kwa sababu tumejua ni maombi. Bas wakati walianza kuombea mtoto, kuna ujuzi yao ambayo wanaomba nayo yenye mimi sijui, lakini nilishtukia kama wamepuliza hizo vitu zao zenye vifaa vyao ambayo wanaomba nayo. Walikuwa na mafuta taa ambayo waliweka kwa mdomo na wakapuliza na wakaakisha kibriti, ili wakisema hiyo ndio inatoa pepo. Sasa hiyo harakati za kuakisha kibriti ndio mafuta iliangukia mtoto na mtoto akaanza kuchomeka. Sasa hawa mama hawakuwa na akili ya kuzimisha hii moto. Tukazimisha peke yetu sisi vile tulikuwa hapo, mimi na watoto. Mtoto hakuwa anaumwa na kitu chochote. Sasa kitu ambaye ilinisukuma nione aombewe ni vile alikuwa na hizo behaviors za kando hizi za kupotea, hakai pole. Hata kwa shule alikuwa analazimishwa tu kukaa kwa darasa.
Let's cross borders now. Hospital officials in Tigray, Ethiopia, have reported that 8 people have been wounded in an airstrike in Mekelle, the main city in Tigray. The director of emergency services at the city's Ada Hospital said that 5 of them, including a pregnant woman, were being treated at the hospital. A Central Committee member of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, Professor Kindea, said the airstrike took place at around 10:25 local time in the center of the city. 2 warehouses went up in flames and were reduced to ashes. Mekelle has a population of more than 500,000 people. Further afield, Syrian state media have reported a bomb attack on a military bus in central Damascus has killed 14 people. 2 explosive devices attached to the vehicle blew up as it passed under Just Al-Rais Bridge during the morning rush hour. Although Syria has been embroiled in civil war for a decade and such attacks in the capital are increasingly rare, soon afterwards, army shellfire also reportedly killed at least 10 people in the opposition-held northwest. The The region is the last stronghold of the rebel and jihadist groups that have been trying to overthrow President Bashar al-Assad since 2011. The war has left at least 350,000 people dead and caused half the population to flee their homes, including almost 6 million refugees abroad. And 21 people on board a Boston-bound jet were miraculously saved when it ran off a Houston runway and caught fire. The McDonnell Douglas MD-87 rolled through a fence and caught fire while trying to take off from the Houston Executive Airport in Brookshire, according to the Federal Aviation Administration. Everyone made it off the plane safely, and only reported injury was a passenger with back pain. Let's go for another short commercial break. We'll be back with business and sports.
Our Christian life is not just about God always stepping in when you are in trouble. But sometimes you need to go through the valley of the shadow of death, and God will say, angels, stand away. He must go through that. She must go through that. Because out of this would come something greater and more beautiful.
Dad! Gari mpya! Umetoa wapi gari mpya?
Optiven wametusort.
Optiven?
Nunua any of our value-added properties ama redeem installment ya property yako. Kwa kila malipo ya 10,000 unapata 1 entry point kwenye draw ya Furahia na Optiven promotion. Airtime kushindaniwa kila siku, holiday kila wiki, shinda ploti na gari kila mwezi, na grand prize ya Mercedes-Benz C180. Ni rahisi, buy ama redeem na ushinde na Furahia na Optiven.
Welcome back. We are glad you're still with us. President Uhuru Kenyatta has unveiled the third economic stimulus program to be implemented from November this year. The new program, whose details were uncovered at the Mashujaa Day celebrations in Kirinyaga County on Wednesday, cover 13 key thematic areas deemed to be critical in firming up the economic rebound. This is to include the sectors of agriculture, health, education, drought response policy, infrastructure, financial inclusion, and environmental conservation.
The first and second stimulus packages were designed by my government to ensure that our economy would endure the shocks occasioned by the lockdown measures implemented in the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. With significant progress registered in the containment of COVID-19, I believe it is now time to shift our focus from survival to coexisting with the disease. And in that regard, my administration will be rolling out the third financial stimulus program designed to accelerate the pace of our economic growth and to sustain the gains that we have already made. I announce, therefore, that effective the 1st of November 2021, new stimulus programs targeting the key productive and service sectors in 13 strategic interventions that cover agriculture, health, education, drought response, policy, infrastructure, financial inclusion, energy, and environmental conservation.
SMEs participating in government tenders can now get real-time unsecured bid bonds of up to 10 million Kenya shillings via a web-based platform launched by HF Group. The listed lender has today said the launch of its online-based solution dubbed HF WizBid Bonds is designed to empower SMEs with 24/7 access and seamless experience when applying for bid bonds, thereby increasing their chances of winning tenders. A bid bond is part of the documentation required when one is submitting a bid. HF will guarantee the project owner or contracting authority that in the event the bidder wins the tender, they will meet the obligations of the contract under the terms at which they had bid. A bid bond is subject to full or partial forfeiture if the winning bidder fails to execute the contract or provide the required performance bonds. And in sports, the national women's soccer team, Harambee Starlets, have this afternoon thrashed South Sudan Bright Starlets 8-0 in their first leg of their 2022 Africa Women Cup of Nations qualifier. During the game, which was staged at Nyayo Stadium, the Charles Okere Charges went ahead through Nedi Atieno, who scored 4 goals in the game that the Starlets fully dominated. Gentrix Shikangwa and Mwana Halima Dogo each added 2 goals to ensure that they solidly control their quest for the next round. The second leg will be played over the weekend after the Bright Starlets opted to host their return leg in Nairobi rather than Juba, South Sudan. The winner of the 2-legged tie will proceed to the next round of the qualifiers for the 2022 Africa Women's Nations Cup finals to face either Uganda or Ethiopia to book a date for next year's tournament, which will be hosted in Morocco.
Tumejiandaa vizuri, tumekuwa na wasichana kambini na tuliweza kuangalia wale Southern Sudan wakiwa katika kombe la Kosafa na tukaweza kujua maeneo ambayo tutaweza kudhibiti ili tuweze kuweza kupambana nao katika mechi ya leo. Na kwa kweli umeona katika dakika ya kwanza ya pili tulikuwa tushapata bao na hiyo imetupatia nguvu ya kusonga mbele. Going forward, I think we still need more time, of course, with the girls. They should play as many matches as possible moving forward because as you can see today, there was some laxity in our game. So slow passing, no quick movement. So it's something that we have to work on. For today's game, we had planned to use majority of the players, but unfortunately we had only 3 substitutes. So coming to the next match, we believe we are going to use the unused substitutes so that everybody can get a chance to play in these qualifiers.
I think the first 4 goals was all basically what we planned for, and yet the players did not respond. I think if you look at our team, they're still struggling to find their feet. They are a new team that has just been brought together like maybe 5 months ago. And for the last 2 months, maybe we've trained together. So I think it's going to take a while for us to get to the point where we need to be. I think every opportunity that we get to play is an opportunity to grow. And for me, when I look back on the game and I look at the 28 minutes that you say, I will probably go back and show them that 28 minutes because what worked there and what didn't work was the main thing that they have to take out of the game.
And that is where we wrap up Newswatch tonight. Thank you so much for your valuable company. In the spirit of Mashujaa Day today, I celebrate my mother as my hero. That is Nancy Muthoni, for the many sacrifices she has done for me. I don't know who is your hero, but for me, I describe her as a velvet glove on an iron fist, tough on the inside, but soft and beautiful on the outside. Salute, Mama. I'm Tess Jenga, and my sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Have a good night, and God bless you. See you tomorrow. Same place, same time, God willing.